Minnesota, interesting line movement in this game. A lot of people like the Vikings. Talking to reporters in the locker room earlier this week, Nick Bosa talked about San Francisco's prep. Listen closely, Colin.
This week, I think we're playing a better, honestly, a better team that's they're playing better football, it looks like, and they run the ball well, and we're going to have to be better in our techniques. We kind of got away with some things last week. So, So, yeah, we have to hone in and not pat ourselves on the back.
Nick Bosa basically saying, we got away with stuff last week. You can't get away with it with Minnesota's offense because Minnesota's got more good players on offense and a quarterback that can move.
Well,
Jets don't.
I might challenge that. I mean, Jordan Addison out.
Justin
Hawkinson
Jefferson
out. Justin Jefferson's better than Garrett Wilson.
Left tackle's the best in football after Trent Williams. Running game, powerful running game with a veteran.
You think the Vikings are better than the Jets?
I think the Vikings offense is better than the Jets offense because one of them is coached by Nat Hackett and one by Kevin O'Connell. So, I mean, I don't think there's any question Minnesota.
Sam Darnold scares you more than Aaron Rodgers?
Nick Bosa is telling you.
He's taking a shot at the Jets.
No. He talked slowly. He was not trying to take a shot. He almost talked. He kind of backtracked what he said because he knew it sounded bad for the Jets, but he was like, yeah, we got away with some stuff with the Jets. We will not be able to get away with it with Minnesota. What is that telling you? The coaching's better, the details are better, and Sam Darnold week 1 was better than Aaron Rodgers.
He was playing the Giants. Like a college defense. Those guys stink.
All right.
Wow, look at.
Okay, so I agree with Colin 1,000%. And yeah, no, Bosa was not trying to take a shot. You could tell at the Jets, like he just said the quiet part out loud, and then he realized like, oh man, then he's like, well, I think they're playing better ball. Like he tried to backtrack a little bit because he was not trying to tear down anyone. He was just kind of admitting, and I'm sure they've had conversations about this, within their meetings and stuff, inside the locker room, of just being like, yeah, the Vikings are a better team. That we got away with stuff, and we can't. This is a better coached, more organized, more disciplined team, whatever it may be. And if you're a Vikings fan, that's super exciting, right? The 49ers are more afraid. The 49ers are more afraid of the Vikings than, say, the New York Jets. And a lot of people preseason had the New York Jets as a top team in the NFL. Right or wrong, it was definitely not an uncommon prediction. And a lot of people have said that the Minnesota Vikings are nothing, right? There was not a lot of people being pro Minnesota Vikings, except for myself, definitely. You can check the tape on that. And Colin, actually. Colin has I feel like he was one of the first people to be very high on Kevin O'Connell. And of course, he's loved Sam Darnold for years and years and years. So definitely credit to him as well. But yeah, I think this is going to be such an awesome week 2 game, because I think I do agree, and I've in my previous Vikings video, you guys know I'm super high on the Vikings and what Sam Darnold and Kevin O'Connell will be able to do together, because I do believe Sam Darnold will look significantly better with Kevin O'Connell. I bet on good quarterbacks with great coaches, and Sam Darnold to me was never a disaster of a quarterback. He was just in bad situations, which Colin has definitely highlighted over the years. But they did play against the Giants. The Giants were absolutely a bad team, and there's no, I got to be consistent with that. I always point that out for other teams, and I have to be consistent about that. The Giants were not a good team. So and although the Vikings took care of business and did what they should do, it's hard to get some takeaways from that, right? Now we are going to get clear takeaways for the Minnesota Vikings, right? If they get rocked and steamrolled and Sam Darnold looks lost and confused, it's like, all right, maybe Sam Darnold's doesn't have as much momentum as maybe we initially thought. And again, of course, it's just one game, so take that with a grain of salt, right? If they play them close and Sam Darnold looks great, or just the Vikings as a whole look great, and it's a close game and it's kind of a battle back and forth going to the fourth quarter, awesome takeaways, let's go. And of course, if the Vikings win, then it's like, oh man, Vikings can win the division, they can win the NFC. How far can they go can they get to a Super Bowl? Because that's the storyline, right? If the Minnesota Vikings beat the 49ers, that is absolutely the talk of the town. It just is. I would be shocked. Maybe if the Bengals beat the Chiefs, that could I would have to really look at the schedule a little bit, but to me, the Vikings would be a top story. And I made previous videos saying like no one's really talking about the Minnesota Vikings. Like, it was so exciting to see Sam Darnold kind of get some redemption, play great. Like I was really happy for him. And, but there was not a lot of talk about it in the media. There really wasn't. If the Vikings beat the 49ers, I promise you, that week of the game, everybody will be saying, can the Vikings win the division? Can the Vikings win the NFC? Are the Vikings a top team in the NFL? How far can they go in the playoffs? Like, that'll be the topics, and that's just pretty cool. That'll be pretty exciting and pretty fun to watch people kind of like twist themselves in knots to either explain why or why not they can or can't. So I'm all for it. Again, I'm not trying to predict who's going to win this game because I have zero ideas. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup because the 49ers, for the most part, should have a pretty decent understanding of Sam Darnold, of course, Shanahan, and I'm just curious to see what type of collaboration they have in that regard of, some of Sam Darnold's weaknesses, what he struggles with. It's not perfect, but I think there'll be some of that overlap. But I think Kevin O'Connell will have a great game plan going into this. I know Sam Darnold is going to be hyper aware of, obviously, the 49ers as well. It is a home game, so that should be beneficial. But to me, more importantly than actually winning this game, and I've said this a lot about a lot of my early games, because to me, these early season games, like, winning is honestly only so... It's obviously important. You got to win, right? I don't mean to downplay the importance of winning, but it's just like... it's just not do or die for me. It's just not sounding the alarm for me. We keep trying to paint these narratives where it's like, like the Ravens lost to the Chiefs and it just means they can't beat the Chiefs and they never will. And it's like, no, if they played really good and it was a really close game and they just lost, that's okay. That bodes well, right? You got to figure out why a team loses. If they got rocked and steamrolled and looked confused and Lamar looked like he never played a game of football before, well then, yeah, that is alarming. That is an issue. But in this game, I'm just looking at this as another barometer game to be like, who are the Vikings? If they play the Vikings, if the Vikings play the 49ers very competitively, and it just looks like a good game, and it looks like, hey, you know what? The Vikings absolutely can win this game. That is a victory for week 2 for me. It just is. They're going to have to continue to build that momentum. Sam Darnold has to continue to get more comfortable. Kevin O'Connell is still trying to figure out what he can do with Sam Darnold at that point as well. That's a part of it as well. Kevin O'Connell is still learning how to maximize Sam. It's a process. It really is. And this is a tough week 2 game without a doubt. So even if they did get beat pretty good, it wouldn't even be an automatic, yeah, they're trash or they're clear. They were fool's gold. They only looked good against the Giants. That's why you got to play 3, 4, 5, 6 games to kind of really clarify who they're. For all we know, the Giants are actually a great team, right? For all we know, the Giants are the top team in the NFL, but the Vikings are just so good that they made them look awful. I don't believe that, but it's technically possible. So to me, this is going to be a really great game to kind of really clarify who they are. Same thing with the Bucks versus the Lions. To a degree, even the Texans versus the Bears, because that Bears defense is at the very least really good, so it'll clarify kind of like what the Texans have going on offensively. So yeah, there's a lot of good games moving forward where we can start to get a little bit clearer of a picture. It's always hard for me to understand who a team is when they play a team and beat them, when the other team is clearly just not that good, or it's just like the quarterback is clearly lost, turning the ball over, and it's like, well, a lot of gifts were given to this team to have them, win so much or look so commanding. But all I am at the end of the day is looking for, can the Vikings look like they belong? Do they look like they can win this game? And even if they win this game, is it because they deserve to win this game, or were the 49ers just, was it, they just gave the game away, right? Was it clear that the 49ers were the better team? But, right, like, because, again, a perfect example, even if the Ravens pulled off that win against the Chiefs and got the 2-point conversion, I would say that was an amazing win, hard-fought win, but it was clear to me that the Chiefs were the better team. It was clear to me that the Chiefs were in control and were more comfortable start to finish of that game, right, than the Ravens. That would have just been my takeaway, even if they caught that touchdown and got the 2-point conversion. I would say, the Chiefs left the door open. Time will tell if the Chiefs just keep doing that because they're not as good, but off first glance, it feels like that's what it is. So there's many different ways to look at a game, and there's going to be many ways to look at this game. And I really, really, really cannot wait to not only watch it, but then discuss it on Monday. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think that the 49ers should be indeed scared of the Minnesota Vikings? And if you're a Minnesota Vikings fan, how do you feel about that? Are you excited? Are you starting to believe in this team? Are you believing, hey, we can get something going, we can actually win, make some noise, make the playoffs, let's go? Or do you still think it's a little too soon? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.